Hi students, good morning. Welcome back to the another biology session from Anand Medical Academy. In the last session, we had started the new topic, that is unit of the life, the cell. Let me continue the topic today with another aspect. What we had discussed in the last session, guys? Definition, historical aspects, the different shapes of the cells, plants and animals also, and different sizes of the cells. Who discovered the cell and who discovered the cytoplasm and who discovered the nucleus, respectively we had discussed. In this session, I am here with you today to elaborate the cell theory. What is cell theory? Who proposed it? What are the contributions before modification and after modification? And how many scientists are together given this cell theory? Till today, is it familiar or any other theories are there beside it? Let us have a clear look. Cell theory is proposed by two familiar scientists in two different years, but the two together collaborated their postulates and given cell theory. In 1838, the scientist named Matthias Schieden, and in 1839 another scientist, Theodor Schwann. These are the two different scientists together contributed cell theory, simply called Schieden and Schwann theory of cell or cell theory. Basically, the Matthew Schieden is botanist. Botanist means simply plant scientist, whereas Schwann is animal scientist, so that zoologist. When he recorded some plant studies, he observed plant body, nothing but plant tissue, is made up of some units are called cells. So what he said, plant tissue composed of units named as cell. This is how botanist Matthias Schieden contributed in the cell theory. On the other hand, he studied about the animals, means he recorded many theories regarding animal cells and concluded cells have membrane, often called plasma membrane today. This plasma membrane also called cell membrane, guys. We can call up this is a boundary of the animal cell. And he also postulated some studies according to the plant cells from plant studies, and he told plant cell covered by cell wall. Here one should observe clearly, Schieden is a botanist. Obviously he studies a lot of plants. Schwann is a zoologist. He must study a lot of animals. But along with his animal studies, he also focused on some plant cells and postulated another important thing, that is boundary of the plant cell is cell wall, whereas boundary of the animal cell is cell membrane. Here one should differentiate the animal cell with the plant cell is a boundary. What is the boundary of animal cell? Cell membrane. Means cell wall is absent in the animal cell. What about the plant cell? Plant cell often have cell membrane and it is also covered by cell wall. So outermost layer of the plant cell is cell wall. Outermost layer of the animal cell is cell membrane. This is what the postulate given by the Theodore Schwann. And this is an interesting thing. According to the Schwann postulates, that is, he recorded some observations towards the cell theory from plants and animals. Apart from that, he proposed another thing, that is, both plant and animal bodies were composed by cells and its products. So, cells and its products are important chief elements in the composition of both plants and animals is also a conclusion from the Schwann. So, this is how individually these two scientists are proposed towards the cell theory, but I am not yet concluded what exactly the factors or elements present in the cell theory. The cell theory is telling, the first point is about all living organisms are composed of cells and products of the cells. So this is what you are observing from both the postulates. So conclusion of the Sweden and conclusion of the Schwann, both the scientists together given cell theory. In that first point I am telling you, all living organisms are composed of cells and products of cells. So this is the first point. Everyone knows, sir, is this a tremendous point? No, today it is not tremendous point. But no one have an idea about what exactly the cell at the time. In 1839, these postulates have a very huge reputation. Now, point 2 regarding the cell theory is, the cell is the basic unit of the life, functionally and fundamentally. So, cell is functional and fundamental unit of the life. It's until unless cell is in function, a tissue, later an organ or organ system cannot work for one function. So cell is a functional unit. Until unless a cell is forming a group with its related cells, there is no formation of tissue, furtherly organ and organ systems and body. That is why structurally and functionally the unit of life is cell without any doubt. So where does the cell theory was popularized? Means in these two. On the same time, there is an allegation that cell theory has one fault. What is the fault? Cell theory was unable to explain its inheritance. Inheritance means how new cells were formed. Cell is functional unit, okay. Cell is fundamental unit, okay. Is the cell able to replicate? Is the cell can produce the new individuals? Cell theory proposed by the Sweden and Schwann doesn't propose at that point. So that another scientist has come, his name is Rudolf Virchow. In 1855, he proposed cell inheritance theory. Which theory? Cell inheritance theory. According to that, how one cell gives its next generation. How cell will divide and produce new cells. So it is also called cell lineage theory. Cell lineage theory. Very important. Cell lineage theory or cell inheritance theory proposed by Virchow or Virchow, Rudolf Virchow in 1855. After arrival this theory, the third point number 3 has been added to the cell theory. It will become modern cell theory. So what is that? New cells are forming from the pre-existing cells. In case if it is the pre-existing cell, these all are new cells. This point did not derived by either Shiden or Swan. So this is absolutely new and very valid point to the cell theory. Every new cell is coming from its previous cell. Nothing but it is a pre-existing cell. That is why the third point is new cells are forming from the pre-existing cells. So that cells are also existing that are dividing itself. Whether it is a mitotic or meiotic, at that time they are not popularized. But cells are able to divide it and giving a new generation, nothing but another cells. That is why the cell theory with these 3 points has been familiar till today. No other cell theory beaten this theory yet. So these are the 3 important points are existing in the cell theory proposed by Shiden and Swan. Credit goes to Shiden and Swan, but Rudolf Virchow in 1855 added another point. You might have a doubt that who proposed the cell theory? If is a question, there is no doubt Shiden and Swan. But according to the Shiden and Swan theory, these 2 points only. This point is added to the cell theory by the postulates given by Rudolf Virchow. In which year? 1855. So one should understand that 1838 given by some postulates given by Shiden. He is absolutely a botanist. And 1839 Swan postulated some theory according to the animals. Later he also worked on plants and proposed the cell boundaries in plants and cell boundaries in animals. What is the cell boundary in plants? Cell wall. What is the cell boundary in animal? Cell membrane. And what is another point proposed by the Swan in 1839 proposed? He also proposed that both plants and animal bodies are composed by cells and cell products. That point is also added here. And another major point of the cell theory is the cell is the basic unit of the life. And who added that cells have an ability to produce the new ones? That is Virchow. What is that point? New cells are formed from the pre-existing cells, not from any other source. The living cells could able to produce the another state of cells. That is cell division. Later sessions we will discuss. So this theory is a very familiarized regarding the cell aspects. Okay guys, today I would like to stop the session here with the cell theory proposed by Shiden and Swan, and what is the credit of Virchow in this portion. And you may have an idea about what is a prokaryotic and what is a eukaryotic, how the cell theory extended towards the prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Further session we will discuss. So the next session what you are going to learn, prokaryotic and eukaryotic differences. I hope you understand the cell theory and individual postulates of Shiden and Swan and Virchow. Get ready for assignment about 10 questions now. Wish you all the best. Thank you.